Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Once again, we welcome you to the vampiric escapades of our little characters here in Requiem for London. That, of course, being a Chronicles of Darkness game. Tonight, before Kindred gather for a second night of Elysium, an Elysium that on the previous night was very eventful, to say the least. Heck, there was even some trouble with some local pests, but seems that got under control, at least for the time being. We are moving once again into the reading room of the British Museum, where we shall find some kindred coming together. But without much ado, let's move on to our first player, or shall I say, our resident maquette, one Nikolai.
All right. Well, since we're starting with Nikolai, um, he is off in the corner, sort of minding his own business. Um, there, he's sitting at one of the many reading tables. He has several stacks of books all around him, open to multiple displays of having multiple books open as he has a small notepad and he's going through and writing stuff down and then flipping through another book, um, then going back to another book. Anyone who gets close will notice that a lot of the books pertain to contemporary knighthood, um, chivalry, the history of different orders of knights, and um, the Renaissance. Unless he's mumbling to himself, no, no, they had black armor with a triple seal, looked modern like, no, that's not it. And keeps going like that, basically. And I'm going to pass it to someone else. Who's next?
Julian would arrive at Elysium looking a little um, apprehensive, a little stiff. He's been hearing about the interesting incidents that have been happening at Elysium, so he's kind of beamed up, ready for danger, even though this is
Wait, we're
supposed.
back at Elysium now.
Oh wait, where are we again? Sorry,
We British
is
the
it?
British Museum reading room,
Sorry,
the library.
can't think to redact that. No, Julian would walk in, see Nikolai, begin walking over to him, kind of taking interest in what he's reading.
Looks up, blinks twice, and go, "Ah, Mr. Goodman."
He will respond. He said, "It seems that you're always reading."
If you have a hidden book, I find less people pay attention to you.
He nods. And he will sit down across from him and say, "Are you actually people watching or just a facade?"
Right now, once in a while I'm people watching, but most of the time I am actually reading. And I find it's easier just to keep my keep to myself. Less chance of getting involved in actual politics. If you get my drift.
Yeah.
Whenever I peek my head out, I seem to get dragged into some dramatic ordeal or another.
Think of it this way, you're not bored.
gives a small chuckle. Perhaps. But unlike some of us, looking up Julian up and down, he'll finish. I'm not built that tanky.
You don't need to be resilient if they can never catch you.
This is true. Though, to be frank, I hope to avoid any further conflicts until I can well and truly get established in the city. It's been only about a month since I've arrived here, and let's just say last night reminded me of my place.
I see.
Until I can get some help. I plan on keeping more to myself. Or at least out of harm's way. Don't get me wrong, I'll still be happy to help our own little club with our current problems, but till I can get some more establishment and make a more name for myself, I'm hoping not to cause too much trouble or catch too much attention. Besides which, I haven't even gone into any scale research yet. But I'm blathering.
It's at that very moment that you see Marcus entering the reading room of the British Museum.
Oh god, here comes trouble.
He walks up. Hey, Nikolai, you ordered me here, so what the hell do you want from me?
Wow. Sorry. I just wanted to go over the notes of what happened last night.
What, you didn't catch it with your camera?
It's still in development, and I want to compare notes.
What kind of camera are you using if you need to develop the film?
Not that kind of camera. Recording. And I only caught bits and pieces of it. Some of the stuff was off the film, and I'm still analyzing the actual data and trying to make sure it's all there. AKA, I haven't had a blue book, so I don't know what I actually saw. So,
Marcus sits down.
I'm sure Mr. Goodman's.
Sorry.
I'm sure Mr. Goodman's just as interested, he said as he gestures for Goodman to take a seat as he starts clearing off the desk for the other two.
You know what? Before we get into this, let me just make my intro as well. So Ali walks in and sees the 3 Ordo people, walks up and says, I kind of figured if I would hang around the museum that I'd see one of you, if you guys were still alive, that is.
It's a pleasure to see you too. And yes, I'm still very much alive. He smiles.
Well, that's good.
Alley Cat.
Glad to see you're in one piece.
Yeah, better than last time, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm glad to see that you are still out and about. I figured your meeting with Mr. Julian would have resulted in other avenues.
Sorry, meeting?
Yes, your little talk during Elysium.
Oh, yeah, that. Well, that'll still have a tail, I presume. But after the chaos of last night, I think we reschedule.
Well, perhaps we should all take a seat, find somewhere more discreet to talk this over. And I'm going to gesture to one of the actual soundproof rooms that are around here.
Good idea. By the way, mind if I have one or two of your books? If we spread it around, anyone looking from the inside will more be thinking that we're either a club or some sort of study group.
Sure. There's not much reference material for me in here anyways. And then goes through the books and then goes, I think you will like these two. And he hands you two books. One is basically all about armor crafting and different designs for armor, medieval blacksmithing, basically. And the other one is a record of historical battles.
Marcus has a quick glance on them, and the one about medieval battles goes, yes, Woolham and Ardridge, 1994. Good book. Good choice. I already read it twice. But this one...
Gives a small shrug.
Maybe in a month or so. But thank you. And he tucks it under the arm.
He'll gather up the rest of the books and start leading you guys up to one of the private reading rooms. Right then. He sits down, takes out a notepad, turns to the three of you and goes, for obvious reasons, what we talk about here should not be discussed with anyone else. At least, this current discussion should not be discussed. I find the city has quite a lockdown on this issue.
Some people have, not all people.
Right. Well,
let's throw our cards open on the table here. It's clear that, well, at least the court, aka the Invictus, want to keep this silent. And from the looks of our dearest Archon, it seems like they are, like, with them. As much as we are concerned, we want to make sure that everyone is aware.
Right.
There's no point in fighting something that you don't know what to fight.
This may be true. Anyways, Mr. Julian. Well, to catch you up to speed. Last night at Elysium, several entities were revealed. It was quite interesting, to say the least. Our friend the Ringmaster, the lovely Archon, used some sort of Lancium Sanctum ritual, blood magic, whatever you want to call it, and create a flame. The flame blinded Mr. Constantine, or caused him quite considerable pain. And at the same time as he retreated, two shadow-like birds, owl-like beings, and he puts emphasis on the word owls, were exorcised from 2 different vampires. From there, I believe both me and Alley Cat had the same idea in departing the venue, but I believe Mr. Marcus stayed, and he can pick up from here.
Yeah. I stayed back and took care of business with the help of 2 other kindred.
So did you kill him then?
I was able to pin it to the wall with the blade I got from the aforementioned Shadowmancer.
That doesn't say you killed it.
No. Fire killed it.
I thought fire could only trap them. Interesting.
I've got a little theory on that. Yes, fire can trap them, but think about it. The fire is like a brick wall to what a brick wall is to a human being, and you would be able to tighten that space between the walls closer and closer and closer. What would happen to the human?
Maybe we get crushed, but can you crush a thing like that?
You can.
So why can't we just make a blade out of it? That'd be not much more easy. That'd be much easier to do.
In all honesty, if they were this easy to catch and kill, they would not be a threat to us. If I'm believing the tales, then they are very much a threat to us. So I really don't think this was what it appeared to be.
I believe we were lucky at best. Being said, Mr. Irons here seems stayed and fight, which may have been a wise idea. I think it was wiser to leave. The rest of us are not armed with such blades, and we would have just been fresh bodies for them, if you get my drift.
Marcus just chuckles. Yeah, I know I'm an old fuck.
Out of character, Nikolai summed up his things. I can't hurt these things. I can't even kill these things. Best I could do is test the Banes out. But at the same time, I don't have the tools for that. So my best strategy was to exit before I got possessed.
It's fine, Nikolai. If somebody is to stay and fight, they also have to be willing to die.
It is not death I'm worried about. It is what they can do to us.
Or worse, he adds very poignantly. But yes, the very fact I was actually able to pin the fucker and properly skew it, that was satisfying. And yeah, come to think of it, I'm a little bit surprised that Constantine didn't pass out some more of these nifty little shadow blades.
I doubt he can make that many. I must talk to the man at some point.
Yeah.
His bloodline is quite fascinating.
Now, as for the fire of unknown origin, well, I do know its origin, but let's just say I've learned from my past mistakes, and I don't know if it really were that wise for me to point out who was the origin.
No. You mean Interesting. I presume
What?
it wasn't the prince then.
Out of character was all a bit of a blur, so I haven't rewatched the scene yet.
Yeah.
So out of character, who were properly responsible for that?
I think it was the original prince, dude, the super ancient vampire, and the head of the Carthians.
So London used to be a Carthian city.
But that was out of character me speaking, because again, I don't know how much I got of this on video.
Yeah, good point. No, not the current prince. I didn't even know that we kindred were capable of pyromancy.
There are ways, but that makes things interesting. I saw the other two who entered before I left.
As for our dear Archon, as bravely as he tried to stand, his beast got the better of him. So he fled. Thankfully, I was able to keep my shit together.
I'll have to see if I caught that part on video particularly.
I would be interested in buying that part from you.
We'll talk later, my dear.
But as interesting as speculating about things that happened in there is, I'm more interested in, well, the course of action that we have right now. Because in all honesty, I'm not going to wait for the court to put me away or to put me in a shard or to do whatever. It's obvious that they want to keep this silent.
I doubt they can silence it now. The entire Elysium saw these creatures. And I very much doubt I am the only one trained in identifying them.
Yellow eyes are a giveaway.
Of course. I am more pointing out that how few vampires do you think have not heard the legend of shadowy birds?
I hadn't. That's for sure.
You are young, my dear.
That shouldn't be an excuse for ignorance when it's a threat to this level.
We're not supposed to know about it, that's the thing. I can see why the court doesn't want this to be wide information, because people get either brave or stupid, probably a mixture of both, thinking that they can just interact with these things with no harm to not only themselves, but the rest of the community around us.
They're probably also afraid the kindreds who have a vendetta or some particularly deep-seated grudge would be so stupid and make a deal with the metaphorical devil, since they behave very similar to folklore devils.
So why even give them the option?
That's why I didn't. That's why I was trying to stall for time, which Alley Cat can. Well, she was there.
Attest to. Yeah. The problem is, though, if we don't spread information on how to identify, especially people being taken over by them, that will make the risk easier or, like, larger for those of us who are unaware. We don't know what signs to look out for. They can be at risk without even knowing it. Information, as always, is a two-edged blade, whatever. You get what I'm trying to say.
Depends on who else is listening into this conversation. That's what's making me so reticent to blurt out more.
That is probably a wise idea, given the shadows can always have
given
ears.
all the Gestapo crap that has been going on, yes.
Alright, then let's change the subject.
Actually, before we change the subject, Marcus,
Yes.
I presume you've had a visit of our dear Arkan as well, reporting for debriefing.
Marcus starts scratching his head and seems to be thinking hard. Nope, can't remember being asked for a debriefing.
Huh.
The operative word being can't remember.
Alright, I'm going to roll my subterfuge here.
Go for it.
Okay, let me roll my
I
perception
have,
that.
I have a memory gap from a few nights ago, and at this point, I'm rather planning to let sleeping dogs lie and
Alright,
sleeping
2
dragons
successes.
doubly so.
Oh wait, I'm doing this wrong.
Call me what you want, but my drive for self-preservation has been coming back as of late.
Boom, 3 successes.
You notice probably from your corner of your eyes while you're talking with him, Nikolai looks a bit. He shifts uncomfortably, but he doesn't say anything.
Ali will, just shift her look towards him for a moment, like her eyes kind of telling him you're hiding something. Doesn't make a comment on it yet, though. We'll look back at Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So either.
Okay. I didn't quite catch everything that the Archon was speaking to you. Alas, not all of us are blessed with incredible hearing. But anyways, let me guess. He's planning to give you a hard time, or is he trying to wave his Lancashire dick around, or what the hell's going on?
Well, that's sort of what I'm wondering. He insists on debriefing me, was not willing to discuss it in Elysium, where everybody would be sort of quote unquote safe.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted me to go to a certain address, rather close by. And basically told me that if I were compliant and not obstructive and would go with him willingly, that he swore an oath that he would, what were his words? Vouch for me.
What address?
She'll pass along the address, which is apparently a pizza joint somewhere nearby the Elysium.
Writes it down in a small notebook. There's another address in there.
Yeah, Marcus is actually noting down that address as well. Okay.
Ali will keep a straight face and not smirk. She knows what info she's spreading. Or she presumes to know what info she's spreading.
Okay.
Gotcha. Of course, I don't, out of character, I don't even need these addresses.
We know. We know that you know.
Yep.
Okay, but he hasn't given you a reason why he would want to a debriefing, hasn't given you a writ, a subpoena, anything even close to something of that nature?
I mean, he was very clear on the events that he wanted me to be debriefed about, which are events that only you and I can, well, debrief.
I see.
And he was also clear on me being a risk to everyone involved since I left something behind for that creature. As she kind of taps her leg.
No, he's worried about a sympathetic link.
Yes.
Marcus
but
just
as much as that is a sympathetic link, the fact that I was with the person who basically, no offense, brought this problem upon us kind of makes me question the fact that I get to be debriefed, as she makes the quotation signs, and he does not.
Well, rumors are those who get taken to the Shard don't actually remember anything that happens there.
Another reason for me to keep my mouth shut.
One of the security measures. They erase the person's memories. It's not exactly like vampires aren't capable of such a feat, especially among the Ventrue.
Then again, they never told me that I would go to the Shard. That's just me filling in the blanks.
I've been hearing rumors about that place. Very, very unpleasant rumors.
I think everyone has.
Mind you, it could be a small safety precaution. That is a reasonable enough assumption to make. On the other hand, doing a media blockout on something like that, put it that way, if this were back in my living days, I'd say that they're hiding some pretty nasty stuff that would probably freak out a lot of kindred. But then again, that's only a possibility. I could be wrong. I could be horribly wrong.
Interesting.
Keeps his mouth shut.
I didn't know there was a mind influencing thing there. As Ellie will sort of touch a necklace she's wearing. Well, we'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah, but making people forget like that, yeah, that's a trick I don't know. To be fair, I don't even know if I want to know it.
Anyways, I suppose we should change topics before any circus actors come along.
The ringmaster is a complicated fellow. So much is obvious.
He's like a fae. Say his name thrice and he'll show.
Okay, everyone put their secrets away. Shall I try it again?
Anyways.
He just whispers, Ringmaster, to himself.
Outside of the dull and the boring, anything else interesting going on but amongst you guys? Any interesting researches or anything interesting research? Any then turns to Alley Cat. Any lovely protests? Political upheaval.
I was not planning a protest. Not all of us are making, signs and walking the streets.
Just the majority.
There are many ways in which you can fight the system. One of which is what we are doing right now.
Perhaps. Well, here's a nice topic that I doubt will get us thrown in jail. This turns to you three. Have any of you three ever heard of a Order of Black Knights? Modern day.
Couldn't say I have.
Modern day? No. At least nothing on the official channels.
Not to my knowledge, but if you're interested, I can put my ear to the ground.
If you would be so kind, dear. But be warned, I would rather not. If you find anything, bring it to me. Don't go snooping on your own. My last run in with these individuals involved an elder's death.
So what's the context in which you are interested in these Black Knights?
Are they Van Helsings?
Perhaps. Most likely.
Of course. Some nights I just wonder if I wake up and I'm not just hallucinating something. And then the hunger kicks in and I realize, no, this is very real. Please, continue.
It's an Order of Knights. Like I said, I have had a run in the past with. I know at least one of theirs is based out of here in London. He left something at the scene, and he takes out one of those reusable Oyster cards. But that's my only clue. I've been hoping that research would reveal more about these people, that there would be some hidden clue within the books. But so far, nothing I've done has really revealed any context. Shuts the book and pockets the Oyster card again.
Did they automatically know what you were?
I was not a vampire at the time I ran into them.
Oh.
But they seem to be well informed on what they were hunting at the time.
Hopefully not Ordo savvy, as far as you could estimate, I take it.
Gives a small, non-committal shrug of his shoulders.
Good enough for me.
They were hunting. The one they were hunting was an Ordo.
Ah.
But she was not combat equipped. I will say they knew enough to strike right before dawn. So whoever they are, I believe they're well acquainted with our
Informed.
kind.
Yeah. Okay. List of things to do is getting longer. Understood. However, it would be remiss of me not to offer my help. So, for what it's worth, when you've got more info, let me know. And, yeah, maybe we'll get right up in their faces and a bit personal. Who knows, maybe by then I might have a few tricks up my sleeve they don't expect and catch them off guard.
That would be appreciated.
I've got the feeling we kindreds should stick together a little bit more than we have been doing of late. Who knows, might even be able to do some greater things together than all on our own, all on our lonesomes. But then again, I haven't been a kindred for that long, so might be the human speaking in me.
It sounds like you are proposing a coterie.
Coterie, group, pack, unit, squadron, call it what you want to, but there is safety in numbers. There is benefit in pooling resources, wits, time, location, stuff like that. So I might be.
I think my sire would lock me up and throw away the key if I joined a coterie with you. No offense, Marcus.
Nah, funnily enough, I wasn't even planning on suggesting it to any of you three just like that. It was more a general comment. But it's... yeah, it's a fair assessment. I can see why she would do that.
Has he I'm assuming Marcus has figured out who my sire is at this point.
No comment.
Once the Strix issue, or sorry, he didn't want to have said that. Once this rodent issue, or let me rephrase that. Once this avian issue is settled with, then we'll talk.
Assuming I'm still around by then.
You're a survivor. You'll make it.
I'm hard to kill. It's true. But no, I only made the comment because I'm actually surprised not to, well, apart from the ringmaster's little circus, not seeing any other coteries. At least I've not been able to see any others, and it surprises me. Just thinking about the whole socio-political angle we kindred have, and it being a little different to what we were used to when we were alive. I'm actually surprised that not more younger kindred are banding together to protect their interests against the elder kindred. Call it the musings of an old man.
There's no telling that people who are talking no different than us in secret. They just don't openly show that they're with particular individuals.
But yeah. Put it that way. The flying shit gibbons, or whatever the hell we want to call them, some of them, apparently the older ones, tend to be more prone to the more classic folkloric banes that are normally associated with our kind. You know, crossing running water, having to count grain or grains of rice that have been spilt in front of them, being driven away by the sound of bells.
Pure heart.
Maybe the use of moon metal, also known as silver. Mind you, I haven't been able to really test any of these, so take it with a pinch of salt. Come to think of it, probably can't hurt to have some salt with you as well. It is said to have a purifying effect. Although for the exact details, I think our friend Nikolai here is the better kindred to go at. He's way more knowledgeable on stuff like that than I am.
I won't deny that, but I believe we originally said we were going to change the subject from those things.
Yep.
We can't let ourselves be obsessed with them. If not, we'll lose our minds.
I personally got.
No, I probably just feel that I owe that to Alley Cat, and probably a little more.
Alley Cat was there when they were talking about that. Constantine was telling us that.
Constantine was just mentioning one or two of the things.
No, he went through the entire list.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I said nothing. That's redacted. Sorry. Out of character mistake.
That's cool.
I've got to work on some scales eventually, once this all settles down.
Agreed. And he gives Nikolai a quite a knowing look. Yeah. Mustn't lose our goals out of sight. But yeah. Call me naive, but I've got the feeling the Invictus is being a little more heavy-handed than what I've been told of. They are
yeah, that's a little naive.
They are hammering your covenant. I mean, political rivalry, I get it, but the levels it's taking currently, worrying. And I've got the feeling it should be worrying to more than just the Carthians.
Let's be honest, they wanted to get rid of us ever since we arrived here. Ever since the previous war. It's fine, to a certain extent, but, you know, we gotta make a living as well, and we're not leaving. So they better get used to the idea of having us around.
Well, on a positive note, I've been making a breakthrough in the medical community.
Huh.
Oh?
Congratulations. And he slaps you on the back.
So if the testing goes well and everything gets approved, there'll be certain medications that'll be less stressful on the body.
Medication for what?
That's my little secret.
Secrets never stay secret very long in our society, but it's fine. I was merely wondering whether it had something to do with our, well, mutual interest.
No, this is purely a mortal venture.
Fair enough.
Then it's
Well,
even less.
You guys
Our
have a
business.
mutual interest.
I, for one, am not gonna stick my nose in this because it's their business, and I respect their privacy.
Sad. I'll be releasing this information once it's ready.
Interesting. We'll have to get your take on some skills I'm planning on making that may tap into the medical market.
But he will look at his watch. I must get going. I have more research to do today.
Aye. And well, I'm sure Elysium is not too far away.
Indeed. I'll try to be there.
Nikolai is going to stand, shake your hand.
And he'll shake it back in earnest and kind of nod his head to everybody here. And he will leave.
Well, I should get going as well. And he'll stand up to leave as well, picking up a couple of the books and the notepad.
He gives you the 2 books that you gave him
Right.
back. Here you go.
And he's going to head out and leave you two to talk.
Sorry if I'm coming across a bit cagey, but let's say old dogs occasionally can learn new tricks.
I'm more of a cat person myself, she says with like a grin.
Lovely creatures, but I prefer dogs.
Ah, but cats hunt birds. Just one thing though, before you go. My faction, the Carthians, are telling me to not comply to following up on this debriefing. And as your faction mates, you said, the Carthians are being driven into a corner. I think you and others of your group would... I think at some point you'll be asked to pick a side. I'm not asking, hey, come support us, but just... how to say it? At least make sure you know who you're following and why you're doing that. I don't trust the Invictus, even though they may be the leading power in this community and therefore seem like an interesting choice. I'm not sure if it's the right one. So maybe you could check around a little to see where your faction's loyalties lie in the end. Just saying.
Thank you for the heads up.
Situation's just getting more tense. That's all I'm saying.
I don't like the fact that we are, and with we I mean Kindred, are not presenting a united front, and we're letting ourselves being, at least some of us are letting ourselves being blinded by politics, while there are way bigger threats out there.
It's almost like we're human.
Well, at least according to the mortals, we are the most human of monsters.
In the end, I think if you would ask each individual, none of us like the politics and the scheming, and we all want to form a united front. The problem is we all want it on our own terms.
True.
Which is why the scheming and the politics are a thing.
Yeah.
Are you guys done? Sorry, I had to step out.
Out of character, I'm done.
All right, so we'll end the broadcast there. And good night to you all.